I'm Chris, welcome to this week's tutorial. Let's draw together. In this week's tutorial, we'll be drawing a wild rose in Procreate, and I'm sure you can create this too if you follow along with the video all the way to the end. And if you feel rushed, just be sure to hit that pause button or just rewind to catch up and save this video to your library so you can have some extra practice. So today we'll be using all 3 brushes found in Procreate. And don't forget, once you finish this entire video, share it on Instagram and tag me in the image as well as the description so that I can find your artwork and feature you here in the next Draw Together video. So for this video, I've made you a free color palette just in case you want to use these same colors. You don't have to, you can use whatever you want, but that is in the description below. You can just tap on that and download it and install it into Procreate. And of course, below you'll also find some links to free goodie bags and some free good stuff that I'd love to give to you. And there's also a link to the shop where you can find all the clip art goodies and lots of other stuff. So let's dive in and create our canvas at 4000 by 4000 pixels, 300 dpi. And I'm gonna start with my 6B pencil. And I'm just gonna use this dark brown here. We're just gonna do a sketch first, just kind of get the placement of all the petals and all that kind of good stuff first. So I'm just gonna start with a loose sort of circle, not a perfect circle, it's just gonna be slightly on the side and just sort of get where my center point is going to be. It doesn't have to be that specific, but and then just start sort of mapping out where I want my petals. So it's gonna be something like this, coming out from here, and another one coming out here. This one is going to come out here. Actually, I think the center line is actually going to be a little bit lower. Sorry, the center of this flower will be a bit lower. So it would be like this petal here. I mean, they're flowers, so it doesn't have to be exact. You can interpret it however you want. There's some rules, but not really. You can be pretty loose with it. Okay, so like this. And I don't know, something like that. I'm just gonna erase that. And then this guy's gonna come down here. I don't know, maybe have a wiggle here. And let's see, then you want to have one that has a little bit of interest to it. So maybe we'll see the underside, like the kind of side of that one, and then it'll come around here. So I've made some of them so they are overlapping and some of them that you can kind of see in between, just to give a little bit of interest to your picture, just to give a little bit of interest to your flower. And yeah, I think that should be good. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 petals. It's kind of a standard thing. I think I want this a little bit shorter in here. And then let's just do some leaves and sort of the base. So I'm gonna bring my stem and it can just go, I don't know, like this. Maybe we'll have another little bit of it over here. Something like that. Some leaves. Sometimes overlapping them makes it look a little bit more interesting. Something like that. That should be good. Okay, so let's have a look at the center here. I want to make sure that it's down low enough. I still think I've drawn it a little touch high here, just for the angle of this, because there's going to be a little, what is it, a stamen that comes out here. So just give it a rough look like that. Maybe it looks a little bit thick. It's a little bit thinner. There we go. Like so, and then we're gonna have all our little bits like this. Okay, so we know that. Just right now, I'm just trying to get the direction. It doesn't have to, obviously, not too detailed, but just kind of try to get how how these leaves are gonna lay. So I'm gonna know that this goes. I kind of want it to be scooping in a little bit more here, dished out a bit. Okay. And I don't really like the way this line looks. Okay, so I think that's probably pretty good for a start. We can always just take our liquify tool. If you go to your magic wand and go to liquify, go to push, and you can just move things around if you want to, if you're not really happy with the shape. If a petal's gone out too far or something like that, this is a good time to go and just make those little adjustments and stuff. So don't be afraid to use that. It's one of my favorite little tools, especially when I'm sketching. Okay, well, I could be fiddling with this for a while, but let's get to our good copy. So I'm gonna go to our layers and click on the N and just bring down that opacity to about 20-25%, whatever works for you, and then click that plus sign so that we get a new layer, and I'm gonna do my good copy on top of that. So I'm gonna stick with my 6B pencil. I'm gonna be at about 75% and 100% opacity. And let's just get in there and do some nicer line work. I'm gonna do a few of these little circle-y guys just off the top here before I set the lines in here, and just gonna make that like that, and maybe it'd be a little kind of bumpy like that. Okay, and then just with the pressure of your pen, just give it a little bit more pressure in areas and a little bit less, just to have some variety. To have those edges a little bit, just you don't want them exact. Okay. I like drawing flowers. You can be so just kind of more loose and yeah, just a little bit more left to interpretation. It's kind of nice. Okay. So let's just keep going. I'm going to do these little leaves here. Maybe we'll have one coming out here too. Just having a little shaky hand is not a bad thing. You're doing the lines just to give it that textured effect. Maybe we'd have one over here too. Something like that. Okay. I don't think we need our sketch layer anymore. It's kind of distracting me now. So I'm just gonna go into my layers and turn it off. And let's see. Okay, so that's better. I think that's a really decent start just to our line work. So now I'm gonna make some, actually I'm gonna do all the little circly things. So maybe we'll just fast forward a little bit so because you can kind of get the idea pretty quickly. So let's go. So all they're going to be is just some circles, and then you're just going to attach lines to them. Okay, so that's probably good for those little bits. And while we're here, I'm just gonna try to make it sort of darker in the center, just kind of making a little bit more attention to here. So I'm just gonna darken some of my lines. I'm gonna use the side of my pencil just to give a little bit of shading too. It'll give that nice little shadow effect. And just sort of put some darker lines just coming out from the center. It's really making this more of a focal point. Okay, so that should be fine. And then I'm gonna go around the edges and just make a few little lines down. So when you have like little things like this, little jogs, you can kind of emphasize those just by pushing a little bit harder at the beginning and then swooping down, and that just creates that kind of fold look. So have a few of those from the top. That makes that, I don't know, well, petally sort of wiggly look. I think it helps. Okay, and then from the base, I'm gonna leave a blank spot in between this and this. So I'm just gonna start halfway down kind of and bring that in there. Just randomly, but make sure that they go with the flow of the petal. And you can do this and then you do little dots if you want to do like that. Has a nice effect too. This just really helps to show the direction of those petals, how they're bending. Okay, so that's pretty good. Let's just go and do a few more details onto our leaves here. Just gonna, because I don't know why I like to, I'm gonna turn my canvas upside down just because it's easier for me to do these lines this way. So I'm just gonna start from the base and do these little veins out. Okay, then I'm just going to take the back or the side of my pencil and just give a little shadow here and there, just where it would naturally be shadowed. I just like having a little bit more grunginess for this particular one. If you're doing straight watercolor, then you wouldn't do this. It wouldn't really matter, but you can make it how you want it to look. Okay. All right, so that's pretty good. We could leave it at that if you just wanted to do an illustration, but let's just put a little bit of a paint in there. I am gonna use some clipping masks, and because if I was using this for clip art, this is how I would do it. I'm just gonna go and select my sketch layer at the plus sign, go to, let's just pick the green at the moment, go to our brushes and inking, Gonna grab the studio pen. I just like to fill this in solid so then it has a solid background to it. So I'm just gonna do that right now, and then I'm gonna make it look more painterly later. So basically all I'm doing is just filling it in, just coloring in the lines basically. And you can just either choose to color it in like this, which isn't the greatest with the studio pen, or you can just drag it in to fill just like this. Here, I'll show you. So if you have a completed shape, then you can grab your color and fill it in. So you can do that as well. Okay, that's all the green. I'm actually going to turn it white now. And I know sometimes people get confused why I do this, but I'll show you in a second. I'm just gonna make this all white. I'm gonna turn off my background layer because then you can see. So basically all I've done is just fill it in with a color. I use the color just because I can see it when I have white background on, or I could just turn the background off and use white, which I'll do right now for the flowers so you can see that difference. But yeah, it's just so I now have a solid fill. So if I'm going to be using this as, like I said, clip art, it'll have a transparent background, but I don't want any colors to fill in. So just, they always need to be solid. So hope that makes sense. Around it would be transparent. The actual image would be solid. So I'm just gonna make sure everything's filled in, and then I can use clipping masks to do my painting on. That way I don't have to do any erasing around the edges. If you're just working on a canvas and you're just making like a painting, and it's just gonna always be on a solid background, then you don't need to worry about this. But because I make clip art, this step is how I find it easiest to do. Okay, so hopefully that's all filled in. Okay, great. So now we have our two parts filled in. So I did it in two parts just so it's easier for me, because then I can just color the green part, you know, without worrying about getting the flower all messy. So I'm gonna go back to my stems and just select that, hit the plus sign, and then click on the layer and click on clipping mask, grab the green, the darker green color to start, and you can use whatever watercolor brushes you have, or today we're just going to use all the free stuff in Procreate. I'm actually just going to use the gouache. That'll work fine for us for this part too. So I'm just going to bump up my gouache to about, I don't know, 25%, and just start painting. So I kind of want it to look a little bit painted, so I'm, you know, gonna pick it up and make it so it's a little bit more blobbier here and there. It's gonna be darker in here, of course. We can make some shadows. Can bring it down smaller, you know, not small, about 10%, and just kind of bring it in there. Just color it however you want it to appear. And I'm gonna go grab that lighter green, maybe just bring in some interest here. A few hints of that here and there. Okay, great. So that was pretty simple. And then I'm gonna go and let's color in our flower here. I can't think. Let's go in and color in our flower, and I'm just gonna select that layer and hit the plus sign, click on that, hit clipping mask, and then I'm going to grab this sort of peachy color I'm just going to stay with the gouache, and I'm going to stay at about 8%. Maybe just put in a few lines here. All right. I'm just gonna erase it just from the stamen here. And then I'm gonna go grab the pink and just maybe bump this up a little bit more to, what is that, 30%. And just sort of create a little circle, kind of, but just lose, I'm being really light at the edges, so I'm kind of building it up, darker in the center, lighter on the outside. I don't want it to be too exact on each petal. I wonder if we need a little bit of brighter pink. Let's try this. I'll have to add this color. Yeah, it's looking a little dull. Okay, then let's just erase the little bit here. Okay, so now we can go and grab our yellow, and I'm gonna, yeah, the gouache is fine. Just bring it down, way down to like 5% or something like that, and then just color this guy in. Nice and solid. Okay. And then I'm going to use this this new pink we have, and go back to sketching and grab the 6B again. I'm just gonna fill in all these little dots. Oops, that's not part of our thing here. I think this may need to be darker. Let's put that there. Okay, and then I'm going to go, just because this hasn't, there we go. And then I'm gonna just do a little extra touch. At the very top, I'm just gonna select my top layer and then just add another one to the top. Just make it white, and just gonna add a few little dots just for highlight, just to really make these come out a little bit. Just a dot. And then maybe just a few here too. Good. All right, perfect. Now, to have another touch, because this is still very flat, which is totally works for some applications depending on what you're wanting to do, but I'm gonna go into my wrench and into insert file. I've put in the description below, there's a free watercolor texture that you can download, and so mine is just in my downloads folder, so I just navigate to there and click on that and it will import it. And I'm just going to make it the size of my canvas, oops, and then do that. And then I'm gonna hit the N and make it, or set it to multiply. So then we have a little bit more texture, which is nice. So you can just go back into your line work layer, and if there's anything else you kind of need to add to, and just maybe bump this up a little bit more. Just kind of make sure that your lines are interesting where they need to be. They don't all need to be the same thickness. I like having variation in that. I think that helps just make it a little bit more of an interesting piece. So I think that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, please hit that like button, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell icon so you can be notified of new tutorials just like this one every Tuesday. I post one here every week, so I'd love to see you back here. So thank you so much for watching. Love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.